to Amaka Intellectual Factory, where I host podcasts and many other interesting stuff. This is part 4 of 9, which is a continuation of my book reviews of Virginia Woolf's novel, Orlando. I have to apologize for my crooked voice because I've listened to some of the other videos, and that's because I usually do these recordings right after waking up, and there are areas that I tend to over edit and other areas that I don't even bother editing. But the most important thing is that the message is being passed across and you can understand what I am saying, right? So, without much ado, let's delve right in. Orlando and the Gipsies. People who kill other people different from them. Part 4 of 9. Orlando's encounter with the Gipsies triggered me. It reminds me of a personal experience and phenomenon that I keep having in Los Angeles, California, where people of certain demographics almost always want to hurt me because I do not think nor act like them. So, unlike the light-hearted part 3 of 9 of my Orlando book review, this article, part 4 of 9, is gonna come off as dark. On 2 occasions, Orlando went into a period of deep sleep spells. The second sleep spell lasted much longer, that even when the riot of a revolution tore through Orlando's home and a musical band played very loud music in Orlando's bedroom, Orlando still did not wake up. However, when Orlando woke up, Orlando was no longer a man, but now a woman. Interestingly, an old gypsy man on a horse was nearby. Before anyone could question Orlando, the old gypsy man carried Orlando on his horse and rode off. What followed next is Orlando's experience with the gypsies that could easily have led to her brutal unaliving. We are well aware of her, for Orlando is now a woman, love and appreciation of nature, literature, and the finer things of life before her encounter with the Gipsies. She is a lover of beauty and expresses that love at every given opportunity. There is nothing wrong or harmful about this. But try convincing the Gipsies she encountered that there is nothing wrong or harmful about Orlando's love and appreciation of nature, literature, and the finer things of life, and you might find yourself, just like Orlando, in danger of brutal unaliving simply for thinking differently and broadly. The Gipsies saw the love of nature as an English disease. They also had very limited vocabulary. For instance, they have no word for beautiful. So when Orlando wanted to say how beautiful the Thessalian hills were, she exclaimed instead, "How good to eat." For the Gipsies were so poor of vocabulary and had no word for beautiful. This amused the younger Gipsies, who looked to the sky and said, "The sky good to eat indeed," because they did not have a word for beautiful. Long story short, the young Gypsy man decided The proper thing to do was to unalive Orlando because she was so different from them. Yet it pained them to reach such a decision. However, luckily for Orlando, as they were contemplating unaliving her, she made up her mind to go back to England immediately. Once she made her intention to leave them known, the young gypsy men were relieved and informed her of how sad they were because they had decided to unalive her for being so different from them. This was a huge trigger for me because it beautifully captures the unfortunate experiences I have been having in Los Angeles with organized gang stalking from people who are primarily Hispanic, Eastern European, Middle Eastern, and Caucasus white people. Some of these gang stalkers are more ethnic looking than others. However, one common factor is their dark-colored hair. Interestingly, Orlando's dark hair was the only thing the Gypsies saw her having in common with them, even to the point of suspecting that Orlando might in fact have Gypsy genetics. I must also add their inclination to socialist and communist ideologies, cultural misogyny, and Venustrophobia. At this point, I'm not taking into account the Black people participating in the gang stalking who are clearly Venus-looking Black women, Babylonians, as in Black Babylonians, Hamites, and Aro men or Leopard men. This does not mean that all dark-colored hair people are gang stalkers, okay? I'm just saying that I am profiling the people gang stalking and targeting me as much as they are gang stalking and profiling me. And this is my observation, period. I have lived among white people from the more prosperous parts of Western Europe before living among these dark-haired, non-Black people who majorly populate Los Angeles, California. And I can tell you that these Western Europeans are different from these other types of white people. Dark-haired white people are very hardwired in their projections, prejudices, and biases. Based on my personal experience and observation, when you do not conform to their projections, prejudices, and biases of you, just like the Gypsies in Virginia Woolf's novel Orlando, they feel inclined to punish you, or in more extreme circumstances, maybe even unalive you. We see these differences between these two types of white people manifest itself in the current global immigration crisis. Again, this is not a total write-off of dark-haired white people, or the glorification of, say, blue-eyed blondes. This is not a black or white issue. I am just stating that from my observation of the people following me around, targeting and gang stalking me, majority of them are clearly of Hispanic, Eastern European, Middle Eastern, and Caucasus white origin, period. And one common factor they all have is their dark hair. I cannot count the number of times I have mistaken an Armenian for a Hispanic. It makes me begin to wonder if these people once shared a common ancestor, because it would explain the similarities in not just looks, but behavior and even culture. As stated earlier, once I got to the part where Orlando encountered the Gypsies, it eerily reminded me of my constant experience in Los Angeles. However, I will be remiss if I do not acknowledge the dark-haired white people I have a healthy friendship and business interaction with. It is not black or white, but an observable factor that cannot be ignored. Anyway, further discussions on this would be a topic for another day. The end of my article. As always, you are always welcome to share your comments, start a conversation, and I will be willing and happy and excited to join in. Well, that's all I have to say for now. Until next time, take care of your lovely selves. And remember, life is beautiful and worth living.
We'll be right back.